Meanwhile, over at table 2, we're still waiting for Phil Hellmuth to show up.
I can't tell you how fast my heart is beating, Lon.
Well, Norman, I'm sure he'll be coming through those doors very soon.
The 2010 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOPacademy.com. Learn online from the champs in an interactive poker school. And PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site.
Sir.
If he wants to make a fool of himself once a year, go have at it.
Well, this is something special, Norman.
If he's going to be naked this often, he needs to work out. He's got moves.
All hail Emperor Lunatic.
Phil Hellmuth doesn't have the embarrassment gene. So this year I'm sure it'll be even more ridiculous.
I'm sorry, he looks preposterous.
Welcome back to the Rio. And Norman, I hear some rumbling outside the poker room, and this could be it, the arrival of Phil Hellmuth.
I am giddy, Lon.
And Phil is wearing a fighter's robe.
This is tame, and even by poker brat entrance standards, so lame.
Phil dressed as a mixed martial arts fighter, and he is grabbing the attention he was looking for.
I waited a whole year for this? This would be a good entrance if someone would knock him out right now.
Well, Phil gets a good luck kiss from his entourage, and I guess he's ready to go. As he warms up with a couple of jabs, he'd hate to pull a muscle performing a check raise.
I wish he could hit himself.
You guys have a little bounty on me?
Yeah, $100 a head. $900 prize or $800 prize pool.
Fair enough. I like it.
Actually, it's $1,000. I'm going to throw in 200.
All right, well, we do have a poker tournament to play. Action on David Catalan. He raises with pocket nines to 300. Folded over to Hellmuth. 7-6 off.
Hellmuth says 2009 was his worst year ever in poker. The first time since 1998 he did not make a World Series final table.
All right, I'll call you.
But he did make a final table this year. Those are Phil's parents.
They must be proud.
Phil made the call, and he'll go to the flop with Catalan. The flop is 7-10-5. Catalan's pocket nines are ahead. Phil flopped a pair of sevens, and he bets 400.
Oh, it's kind of hard to flick a chip out there like this.
Who told you to wear gloves in a row?
That's going to be challenging.
Catalan makes the call.
Hellmuth says he's back to his super tight classic Phil strategy, but playing 7-6 off in the big blind doesn't seem to fit that mold.
A queen on the turn. Catalan's nines are still ahead.
Phil also says he's talked to younger players like Brandon Cantu on how to mix up his play, and Phil has cashed 4 times at this World Series.
Phil bet. Catalan calls.
I still think Phil is struggling with his style of play right now.
I want a deuce. What do you want?
I want a deuce too.
Oh, man.
Let's see what the river brings. It's a 9 and a set for Catalan. Gives him the check mark.
Now check.
Third heart on board, too, and Phil checks. Catalan will bet it 1,000.
One heart.
Phil says his reading ability at the moment is phenomenal, so this should be an easy fold for him. He looks ridiculous.
Phil with a pair of sevens.
I don't know.
Did you call me with a 5?
Phil actually folded.
I showed you a 7.
Catalan will take the pot. Hellmuth outpointed in round 1.
Yeah, they're the ones to blame.
Is my hair okay?
If I were him, I wouldn't be worried about the hair.
While Phil plays the role of a fighter at table 2, across the room we find a real fighter, 3-time world champ boxer Jeff Fennick of Australia.
A world champion as a bantamweight, super bantamweight, and featherweight.
Fennick put out a bet and shows the winning hand.
I used to box.
Used to box, yeah.
He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2002.
It's a much more painless way to get knocked out.
Is this it?
Another accomplished athlete in the field is Eric Baldwin. He was the captain of the University of Wisconsin Whitewater 2005 Division III National Championship baseball team. He's facing a bet of $5,000 right now. Baldwin will fold.
Baldwin had a great 2009, winning his first bracelet and named Card Players Player of the Year.
Perhaps the most physically imposing person in the room is Tony Campagna on the left. He's all in. He twice finished second in the Mr. America bodybuilding competition in the over 40 age group. And it looks like he hit the river to stick around.
That's what happens when you try to stick it to me every time.
One time. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And that's how you get it on the river.
Woo. Let's go back to the feature table now to check in on Joe Cata, who was the toast of the town in 2009.
Letterman? He has no idea about cards.
Joe talking about his appearance on David Letterman after he won the main event.
He did like this thing where he just throws cards out, and I see him, he's hey, you like, can't look. He's like, close your eyes. And he's like, okay, now what are the cards? I'm like, nah, like, what are you talking about?
Apparently David Letterman confusing Joe Cata with Penn and Teller.
The blinds are up to 150 and 300. Action on Joe Cata with pocket sevens.
What gets overlooked about Cata last year because he made history is that at one point of that final table, he had barely 1% of the chips in play.
He raises to 800 under the gun +1. Nils Bardsley with pocket kings, a 40-year-old amateur from Denver.
Re-raise.
And he says re-raise. He makes it 2,200.
It was a remarkable comeback for an extreme short stack. Now, what does get remembered about Joe is that he got all his money in bad a couple of times in situations just like this and got very lucky to stay alive.
Cata makes the call and will go heads up against the pocket kings with his sevens. The flop is ace, A7. Wow, Cata flops sevens full.
Boy, this kid runs good.
The yellow border around a player's name indicates they're next to act. Cata checks.
Joe slow plays it. He hopes to get paid off later.
Bardsley checks behind. Turn card now. Deuce of spades. Cata still in control. Bardsley picks up an irrelevant flush draw. Cata first to act. That's 3,600.
Remember, Bardsley 3-bet it pre-flop, so Cata knows he likely has a big pair or a big ace.
And Bardsley makes the call. Cata loves to see that. River card is a 4 of spades. Cata is best. He gets the check mark. Bardsley, though, caught the nut flush, and that may cost him.
This is just a sickening hand for Nils Bardsley.
Cata comes out with 11,000. Who can fold here?
Now, Bardsley's getting 2.5 to 1 on a call here. He made the nut flush. I don't see how he lays it down.
Yeah, he does make the call. And Cata will take that pot.
Yeah, buddy. He's the champ.
Joe Cata, last year's comeback kid, comes from behind again and is rolling here on day one.
World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Back at the Rio, action underway at the featured table where Joe Cata is living right. He caught trip nines and a 5-way flop. None of the other 4 came close.